So in January 2018, I was pretty bored at work and of course instead wanted to play video games. And instead of focusing on work, I just let my mind wander and thought, what could Cities Skylines 2 bring us? So I wrote a design document and I even uploaded it to Reddit. It didn't do well. The post completely tanked. So fast forward to a year ago, we heard the first leaks, the first rumors all about Cities Skylines 2. I was really hyped and I created 2 videos that you will find linked in the info box. So let's revisit those videos. Did my predictions about Cities Skylines 2 hit the mark? Let's first start with number 1, roads. Many of the traffic problems in Cities Skylines stem from the fact that vehicles turning left block traffic behind them or cut people off. This can be solved by having dedicated turn lanes on larger roads and avenues. The easiest solution for players here is to have this happen automatically. The curb on streets in Cities Skylines already automatically retracts when placing a bus stop. This same system could be modified to allow medians to retract and make room for left turn lanes. Well, I'm slightly off here, but this is what I got right. In recent free patches for CS1, as well as already existing roads in CS2, we know that Colossal Order is aware of the need for left turn lanes. You just have to do the lane mathematics yourself still. What, however, is way more adaptive in CS2 are lane markings, as well as lane-based instead of segment and node-based connections. Highway ramps connecting to a highway in Cities Skylines are unrealistic and would be very dangerous in real life. The reason for that is that there's no acceleration or deceleration lanes. I suspect that this might also be possible with a modified version of the bus stop system, substituting space on the curb for an acceleration or deceleration lane. Again, there's nothing happening automatically here, however, we are able to just add a lane more to highways. But now onto another huge previous suggestion, the in-game road editor. Here's what I said. While the in-game editor would provide more flexibility concerning parking, lights, trees, props, lanes, etc., similar to the network skins mods, for players willing to dabble in this topic, it at the same time would make it easier for casual players to play the game by reducing the amount of roads cluttering the road construction toolbar. Allowing users to save roads while in-game as presets into the toolbar would provide players with even more options. This one I was really close with my prediction. The new and improved road upgrade tool allows us to change parking for a wider sidewalk or trees, add tram lanes or bus lanes, remove pedestrian crossings or traffic lights, and more. Now, props, lights, and color changes are not included, however. On the other hand, we are already seeing some features of the Traffic Manager mod in vanilla, so all in all my predictions were well intentioned but still a bit hit or miss compared to the confirmed CS2 features. Next up, number 2, telecommunications and digital infrastructure. Now this was a pleasant surprise for me when they initially showcased this service for CS2 because it was on my wish list. Access to the internet is a very real demand in the 21st century. I propose a similar system to water pipes, whereby buildings connect to the internet either via copper cable or fiberglass cables. Both cable types need to be connected to either an oceanic underwater internet cable, which can only be built where water reaches the map edges, similar to ship routes in the map editor, or via satellite dish, or building a data center. While there aren't different types of internet cables in CS2, we are however seeing antennas as well as data centers with different capacities. Now, I made this prediction initially based on the new service type Deathcare, unique to Cities Skylines, and also them adding the postal service in a DLC compared to other city builders. So I thought adding a new infrastructure that has become hugely important to the general public since the 90s is quite reasonable. Now, the existence of the feature, as well as the general workings, I have to say I nailed this. On to feature number 3, service building improvements. One of the only features that SimCity 2013 does better than Cities Skylines is upgradable buildings. Adding more garages or modern equipment to police and fire stations makes for some really fun gameplay. Or how about being able to change the building style, from European to international style or to Steam Workshop buildings? A drop-down menu similar to the service vehicle selector or mod-added drop-downs could easily work if the building footprint stays the same. Thanks to Cities Skylines' flexible sub-building system, as the creators might already be aware of it, this could be possible in Cities Skylines 2. Upgradable buildings are in Cities Skylines 2, and they include visible as well as functional upgrades or even whole building extensions. And not many players might know this, but building modders for Cities Skylines sure do know. There's a thing called sub-buildings in CS1, and I predicted based on that an improved version of that would already be a pretty modular system. They just need to add stat modifiers, and that's pretty much what they did. I predicted it, and another check mark. Alright, feature number 4 is a big one, zoning. Now, we all know what was missing from CS1. Mixed-use zoning and medium density. Now, here's what I expected for Cities Skylines 2. I proposed the following new zone types. Medium density residential, which includes condos, apartments, row houses, etc. Medium density commercial, which is larger than corner stores but smaller than malls. Low, medium, and high density office buildings. Low density industry, which has low to medium noise pollution, and high-density industry, which are facilities with very high noise pollution and very high pollution overall. Okay, so let's check what's in Cities Skylines 2 and whether or not I was spot on. There are not just 3, but 6 types of residential zoning, one with commercial on the ground floor. Sadly, no medium-density commercial. Industry is a little bit more granular now, even though only single zone types exist. We now have the draggable specialized industry areas, and offices now come in 2 instead of 1 zone type. My prediction was somewhat accurate, so let's add a checkmark here as well. Now, while residential zoning was even more granular than I expected, the remaining zone types still leave somewhat room for improvement. If we're talking about zone types, we also need to talk about zoning demands. Currently, office zones use the same RCI demand as industry. In Cities Skylines 2, I propose a new RECO system whereby commercial and industrial zone blocks increase demand for offices. Now, separate demand for offices is in-game, also separate demand for each residential type. And what about zone depth? Many players complain about zones only being 4 tiles deep. Modders already found code suggesting that Colossal Order previously attempted using 8 tiles. Furthermore, the same modders made progress in coding a mod that actually increases zone depth, however halted the project due to time constraints. For Cities Skylines 2, I proposed the following zone depth. Tiny and small roads, 4 tiles. Medium roads, 8 tiles. Large roads, 16 tiles. This one I was wrong about. Zone depth does not change based on road type. However, Cities Skylines 2 has a zone depth of 6 instead of 4 tiles on all roads. Now, the last point is not only referencing my wishlist video, but also a video that I produced after the release of Victoria 3. I cover a lot of thematically different aspects, so let's go over them bit by bit. Number 5, lively Sims. Sims shouldn't just be lifeless things moving through your city. More social issues, different needs for groups of people, more interactions with the environment will make cities feel more lived in and lively. Cities Skylines already has different animations for different people groups, as well as people walking their dogs, etc. But we need more. Now, let's compare that to Cities Skylines 2. Traffic AI, as well as housing needs and income, are separated into 4 different groups: children and teenagers, adults, and lastly retirees. Sims now also have more animations, for example people relaxing on lawns or using their phones, or people running if a traffic light turns red. Also, people use their high beams at night and even turn them off when another vehicle approaches. Lastly, depending on the weather, people will use different types of recreation. These are little touches that make a city more human if we take the time to zoom in and marvel at our creation. Oh, and talking about income, here's what I predicted for CS2. There's very little fluctuation in building levels, sim income is not present in-game, and political, as well as social features, are even more absent than in the SimCity series. Colossal Order did try and do something about that for Cities Skylines. After the release of the After Dark DLC, interviews and files suggest that the next DLC was supposed to deal with citizen groups, but they couldn't make it interesting enough or package it in a DLC in a reasonable way. A pop system akin to Victoria 3 or Stellaris, however, also includes likes and dislikes, skills and education, and more stats. And if we look at the culture shift feature in Crusader Kings 3, we could even see shifting preferences of how to live, which mode of transport to take, or how much they like certain policies in Cities Skylines 2. Imagine if you as the mayor had to really work to convince suburbanites to consider public transport. So I was right about Colossal Order adding citizen income as a feature. Also, as mentioned earlier, age groups are now more important. I was however wrong about the more social aspects of these people groups, as well as a policy shift or influence system. So this one was a meh prediction on my end, I guess. I got the gist of it right, but was wrong about the details. Here's the overview of my hits and misses of predictions for Cities Skylines 2. For more CS2 content, check out my reaction to the initial gameplay reveal. I also produce other urban planning and Cities Skylines content, so maybe give the suggested video on the right a watch as well. Thank you and bye.